This is a wine book on record. It is not a pop or popular record. There are no musical backgrounds, no jokes, no vocals, just interesting condensed wine information which will help you become a wine expert. Please do not play all of this record at one time. There are just too many place names, too much wine terminology, and too many wine facts for a one-time sitting. We all know that the more a person knows about a subject, the more he enjoys it, whether it's art, music, literature, or cooking, or golf, or football, or the wonderful world of wine. Drinking, of course, is the only way to really know wines. Drinking knowledgeably, and this requires a bit of fun study, will definitely add to your enjoyment of your glass of wine. These recorded vignettes on 10 different wine subjects we believe to be accurate, unbiased, and concise. The only opinions we've expressed are in the careful selection of the wine facts themselves. It is not an exhaustive study of each subject presented, because within the time limits this would be impossible. It's only a beginning. However, we do hope that you will find the records a worthy basic study designed to encourage your further study, and above all, designed to encourage your enjoyment of wine. On these record tracks, you will find something about wine's geography, a touch of its history, how a wine is made and its taste created, and a foundation in terminology and wine word pronunciations. And this latter is most important if you want the waiter, or the maitre d', or the liquor store clerk to understand you. Highly paid song pluggers, those promoters of pop tunes, maintain that when one hears a new tune a half a dozen times, he knows that tune whether he likes it or not. For example, how many times have you caught yourself whistling the cigarette or beer commercials, or humming the children's nursery songs, or singing the pop tunes of the day, whether or not the words or the melody lines appeal to you? Now try applying this song plugger's idea to these wine records. If you want to know something about sherry, for example, play the 8-minute track here several times, and you'll be able to tell all the world what a Solera is, and what type of sherry a Fino, and a Amontillado, or an Oloroso is. Just concentrate then, and memorize as you listen, and then, as they say in the vernacular, enjoy. And by watching the wine maps on the album's jacket, you will be able to take a mental trip to the wine country. Wines always taste best at the winery, it seems, and you're going to be there. If you want to know how to pronounce the more important words in the wine vocabulary, this record and the pronunciation guide on the jacket will serve that purpose too. My pronunciation, of course, is Americanese. However, it should get you a bottle of wine any place in the world. Names of wineries and names of prominent shippers have been omitted. It would be invidious of anyone in this short time to mention only a few of the many quality-minded vintners and the many quality-minded shippers. We recommend that you seek out your most reliable wine merchant, tell him the type or types of wine you want after listening to these records, and tell him you want the best. Generally speaking, you'll get it. But remember, like other commodities in the field of wine, you have to pay for what you get. However, there are great tastes available at moderate prices. Well then, that's it. Why don't we spend an hour together? An hour for a lifetime of wine drinking pleasure. A good wine is like a good mink, for both are adjuncts to good living, and both require cool, careful storage. If you have a cellar in this cellarless age, well and good. If not, you should contrive some sort of storage facility for your wines that will best meet the needs of their keeping. For all types of wine, the ideal temperature is an even 55 to 60 degrees, and this is summer and winter. The worst enemies of wine are heat and sudden change in temperature, mainly heat. Your white wine should be kept in the coolest spot possible, usually nearest the floor, for their lighter bodies are more sensitive to breakdown. And by breakdown I mean principally oxidation, which is a chemical change usually brought about by heat. It darkens the color, and it often results in an off taste. Chemical breakdown may also result from bacterial spoilage, and this could create, as you know, vinegar, or it could create different clouds within the wine. sunlight is harmful. However, heat, remember, is the demon. All natural wines, by this I mean table wines, wines such as Burgundy and Claret and Chablis and Sauterne and Rhine wine and rosés, the lighter wines of approximately 10 to 14% of alcohol by volume, should be stored on their sides, lying down that is, so that the wine thoroughly soaks the cork and swells it, and thus prevents air seepage into the wine, resulting in these breakdowns which I have mentioned. Dessert wines and aperitifs such as port and sherry, wines of approximately 20% of alcohol by volume, may stand upright for short periods on the shelf without deterioration. Their higher alcoholic content acts as a preservative. But, friends of wine, if you want to play it safe, store all bottles of wine lying down on their sides. There are many suggested ways of serving wine. There is a standard procedure, but it may be varied. If your wine is white or sparkling, place it in the refrigerator for at least 1.5 hours. Or, if you wish to make the serving more dramatic, place the white wine or the sparkling wine in an ice bucket for at least 1 full hour. Both methods get the same cooling results. Ice bucket, of course, has more showmanship, and it keeps the unused portion of wine cold. The secret behind the icing of sparkling wines is this: the colder the wine, the longer the bubbles last. Red wines are usually served at room temperature, or more properly at cellar temperature, which is about 55 to 60 degrees. A room temperature of 80 degrees can mean a warm, unpalatable wine. There is nothing worse than hot wine. Another point, please don't be afraid to display the label on the wine bottle. If you follow the common practice these days of wrapping a napkin around the bottle while serving, you are hiding the glorious label and the colorful eye appeal of the magnificent wine bottle. A napkin, of course, may be used to wipe the moisture from the bottle, or to wipe the wine from the lip of the bottle between servings. If you want to avoid dripping wine on your best tablecloth or your best friend, give the bottle a deft twist just before you raise it from the pouring position. One other little hint with sparkling wines: if the cork sticks, and many times it does, and if you find it difficult to extract, hold the cork firmly and twist the big bottom of the bottle. This gives greater leverage, and the sticky cork becomes no problem whatsoever. In choosing wine glasses, a good rule is the bigger the better, and thus permitting safer swirling and better sniffing. 2 types of glasses are especially recommended. For table and dessert wines, a 7 to 9 ounce bowl-shaped cupped-in glass, and for champagne, a tulip-shaped glass of good size, or the standard flute shape. There is a preference, too, for the long-stemmed variety, based largely on the fact that when drinking chilled wines, that is, white wines and sparkling wines, the glass may be held by the stem, and thus you avoid warming the wine. Protocol plays a subtle role, too, in the order in which guests should be served. If you are having a large party, say 8 or more, pour the first ounce or 2 in your own glass and taste it. The purpose, of course, is for the host to determine if the wine is suitable for his guest. It is both dramatic and practical. Of course, if the dinner is being served, custom indicates that the host should be served first for the tasting, next the hostess, and then the ladies to her right around the table counterclockwise, and then the gentleman to her right counterclockwise around the table, and finally the host glass is filled last. If you are attending a dinner and the host or waiter does not fill your wine glass to the brim, he is not merely being economical. Try it yourself. Pour the wine glass only about 1/3 full. This permits you to swirl the wine in the glass, and when you stop swirling, the thin film of wine on the side of the glass evaporates, and those aroma and bouquet molecules pop around in the top part of the glass so that you can sniff them like the expert you are. When a single wine is served, the wine glass is placed at the right of the water goblet, providing you insist on serving water. When 2 wines are served, the 2 wine glasses usually are arranged in a straight or diagonal line at the right of the water goblet. if used. As soon as each course appears, the appropriate wine is served. If a second wine is offered, the first glass is removed with the silver and china of the course it accompanied. If two similar wines are being compared, or if your guest so requests, both glasses should remain on the table. At elaborate dinners where several wines are to be served, usually no more than 2 wine glasses appear on the table at one time. I say usually because you may put 6 glasses on the table if you wish. It's your table, and the rules are not that hard and fast. So, as you see, the rules of storage and service are really simple and easily memorized. By listening to this soundtrack 3 or 4 times, you will have these rules by heart, and you will be ready to play the perfect host to all wine-comers. Serving wine to your guests is a sort of ritual performed as a compliment to them. Next to Mother, a Frenchman has the reputation of being the best cook in the world. And certainly one of the more important ingredients in French cooking is the proper touch of wine. Wine for marinating, for basting, for liquid flavorings in soups, salads, sauces, pastas, and countless other uses. But perhaps you say, I'm a teetotaler. I never use anything alcoholic. Well, certainly it is no violation of temperance to eat well. And to do that, you may well improve the taste of your food when you accent the culinary taste with wine. Contradictory though it may sound, even if you use wine, your cooking will still be non-alcoholic, because the alcohol in wine disappears very quickly in cooking. Alcohol, you see, begins to boil off at 172 degrees, but water does not boil off until 212 degrees. Thus, the alcohol disperses, and only the wonderful wine essences linger on. And, for that reason, add your wine at the last moment, just enough time to blend and heat so that you will boil off only the alcohol, but not the haunting wine essences. Remember also in wine cookery that too much is worse than not enough. The flavor of the wine should blend with and not overpower the taste of your food. Wines for home kitchen use, therefore, do not amount to much in quantity. And for this reason it is wise to use better than average quality table wine. There is one basic rule in wine usage for cooking. With the specific dish you are serving, drink and cook with the wine you enjoy with that dish. However, printed on the jacket of this record album, you will find the California Wine Advisory Board's fine, comprehensive wine cookery chart, which will add variety, zest, and tang to your cooking. These suggestions are just a helpful starter, a stepping stone for your own further investigation. And after enough experimentation, you will undoubtedly find the type of wine that you want to use, and you may certainly vary the amount suggested. There is another important chemical element in cooking that should be remembered. If you use real cream in your soups or sauces, be sure to cook them in a double boiler, otherwise the addition of the wine will curdle the cream. After studying the wine cookery chart, ladies, bachelors, and gourmet-minded husband chefs, you're going to discover that you will generally need a 3-bottle wine spice cabinet in your kitchen. 1, a dry sherry. 2, a dry red table wine such as Burgundy or Claret. And 3, a dry white table wine such as Rhine wine or Chablis or dry Sauterne. With fish, fowl, and lighter, more delicate dishes, use the white table wine. With beef, game, and the more pungent, fine Italian dishes, cook with the red table wine. In soups and sauces, add dry sherry. And the balance of the bottle, dear friends, is for drinking. The rule is sure and simple. Formerly, when you added water to your cooking, now add water and a small amount of wine. The rules, remember, are not hard and fast. Use your wines just as you would use the exotic touches from your own spice cabinet. And don't be surprised if a guest suggests that you should open your own French restaurant.